What is up, everyone? It is the Beast, Brian London. It is Cam Underwood. It is the Real Ones Canes podcast. Cam is the managing editor of State of the U. Go check it out, stateoftheu.com. It is free. It's open 24/7, 365. It has the most amazing Miami Hurricanes content, stateoftheu.com. Follow Cam on the X at Underwood Sports. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Cam, Friday night, Miami, Louisville. I'm not sure if I like Friday nights. Friday nights seem odd to me. Mario Cristobal in his press conference yesterday, we're recording this on Tuesday, so Monday, said, you know what, Thursdays and Fridays should be for high school, Saturdays for college, Sundays and Mondays for NFL. But here we are, Miami, Louisville on a Friday night. Your thoughts?
Yeah, man. Good to see everybody. Welcome back. Like, subscribe, share, all those kind of things. And speaking of sharing, I share the outlook of Mario Cristobal on the topic of which teams and levels of football should be played when. Miami has for a very long time, been a major draw for ESPN with their Thursday night and now Friday games. There's been many articles about the success of having just one Miami game on the weeknight placement through the years. So, we're back in that place and everything. Have the same kind of rest as does Louisville, because we both had a bye last week, and look, I'm a proponent for, playing whoever, whenever, period. And we're able to do that. We have another national TV audience on Friday night, so hopefully we're able to put up a good show. I would prefer that it were a Saturday game, but whatever.
Here's my thought process. It seems like Miami always gets scheduled in these weird games that other blue bloods wouldn't get scheduled in, right? And I understand it's a matter of conference because the ACC takes a back seat to the Big Ten and the SEC. But would you ever see a Michigan play on a Friday night? Would you ever see Tennessee play on a Friday night or an Alabama? It's just one of those things, and it bothers me, but it's fine. That's what's on the schedule, so we'll play it.
We've seen these major teams have weeknight games before. I remember back in 05, 06, in the back part of, their dominant run. USC played on Thursday night at Oregon State one year and lost in this or nearly lost in this massive fog storm kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? We've seen, obviously the SEC, whatever, people have built it up into this other kind of thing. But I remember you're probably 2 or 3 ESPN Thursday night jingles ago, da, 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 this, I can remember right in the early 2000s, but you would see in Alabama on a Thursday night, you would see these teams that would have, it wouldn't be all of the time, but it did happen. But yeah, especially with the ACC conference, you have seen major teams like a Miami, like a Florida State, have more just a firm, solid one a year, where it's maybe one every 4 or 5 for these other teams, and then obviously moving forward, fewer than that. But again, it is what it is. If you do your work and you execute on the field, it could be Tuesday on Jupiter. Go win the game. So that's really what my focus is. I get it, and obviously we're here talking about it, but it is what it is. Line it up, roll the ball out. Let's go win.
All right, so Louisville comes to town, and
indeed they do.
I watched that game against Virginia. Mm-hmm. Overtime game, exciting game, thrilling game, really good game. I've seen bits and pieces of other Louisville games. I think I saw some aspects of their game at Pitt. They look good, right? Louisville, for the last 20 years, has gotten great athletes. A lot of them here from South Florida. We'll take a look at who's playing running back for them. Oh, wait, a kid from Homestead. And they come to town with an offense that looks really good, and a decent defense. But again, their schedule has not been wonderful. They did beat Virginia, who's okay, and they lost to Virginia in overtime. Yeah, they lost to Virginia in overtime, but they beat Pitt. and the other three are Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, and Bowling Green. So I don't know what to make of how good Louisville is really, but I'm guessing that doesn't really matter, that this Miami team seems like the mature kind of team that's not going to look at, they're just okay, we're just going to take a Friday night off and let this one go. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen either. I think the team is really they've proven to me that they've been dialed in. They're not perfect by any means. But yeah, every week is a chance to go 1-0. Every week is a playoff game. And that's been the mentality of Mario Cristobal. You've heard the players say that. Louisville, they're a talented team. They have talent in some places. They have some skill players. Isaac Brown from Homestead is arguably the fastest running back in America. Chris Bell, number 86, the wide receiver, is good and fast as well. Miller Moss, the former USC quarterback, is their quarterback now this year. They have some talented players and have a very high PFF grade on defense. I believe theirs is rivaling what our success grade is on the defensive side of the ball. The thing is, in their offense, they can be a little hit or miss. And the thing that is really causing them some problems is the offensive line, which has a 57.0 PFF pass blocking grade, which is 105th in the country, and a 51.7 run blocking grade, which is 117th out of 136. And Miller Moss, that quarterback that I mentioned, has a 35.0 passing grade when under pressure. So I say that to say their offensive line has been not just mid, but bad. And they're going up against arguably the best defensive line in the country. And their quarterback, when pressured, has also been objectively terrible. So, there are some things to look at. Jeff Brom is a good coach. He schemes it up on offense. And just like last year, in that shootout, I don't believe that Louisville is going to leave anything in the playbook. Given the opportunity for trick plays and fourth downs, and they're going to leave it all out there because they've lost consecutive one-score games to Miami, and I really know that they're looking to try to make a splash here. And, they thought they were going to come in undefeated as well. Had that game against Virginia, it got to overtime, and then they ended up losing. So, and you have, there's more guys than just Isaac Brown from South Florida on that roster. So plenty of guys who want to put on a show and ruin the hometown team's night for a team that didn't recruit them. Famously, Isaac Brown went to lots of Miami Hurricanes football camps and wanted to be a Miami Hurricane, and we told him thanks, but there's no room at the inn. Seek shelter elsewhere, and you can see the kind of player that he is. So, those are my thoughts on the Louisville game.
Yeah, Isaac Brown comes in with 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Listen, the Miller Moss to Chris Bell, who's their outstanding wide receiver, combination's one of the best in the ACC. Right, Bell's got 502 yards on 35 catches, 4 touchdowns. And they create the big play between those two. So that'll be one of the focuses, obviously, for Miami's defense, is to prevent that from happening. Louisville, if you're right about the trick plays and not leaving anything in the bag, but I think they're going to their bread and butter, not bread and butter, but one of their the Brown brothers are great offensive minds. That's what I'm trying to get at. One is their head coach. One is their offensive coordinator. Brian Brom, on an aside, their offensive coordinator, he was the quarterback when Miami went up to Louisville in 2006. And from a Charlie Jones fumble on the goal line to the rest of the game, that was an ugly game. Miami went into the half losing. I remember this like it was yesterday because I was most of the time when I was a sideline reporter at halftime, I would not go near the locker room, even though I had access to go not in the locker room, but I could be like right outside the locker room. Normally I would, go get a drink of water or, I would whatever, take a seat for a few. The Louisville game, I remember walking and standing right outside the locker room and listening to Brian Pata give the most unbelievable motivational speech that someone could give at the half of a game. I remember I can hear his voice like it was yesterday, trying to get his team to get back into this game. And then obviously, like 6 weeks or something later, Brian Patter was shot and killed. May he rest in peace. But so I remember that game like it was yesterday, going up there, losing that game. Brian Braun was a quarterback. He didn't have a wonderful game, but it was good enough with all of Miami's self-inflicted wounds to win that game by a large margin. It was like 31 to something, I think, in 2006. So, but Brian Braun was the quarterback, and I was just like those guys, the Braun brothers. I feel like there's a million of them. They're offensive minds, and they know how to do that really well. So it'll be good chess match between offense and defense there.
Yeah, I remember the 2004 game, my senior year, which was on a Thursday night at the Orange Bowl that I went to, and I was in very poor voice the next morning for a sight singing exam on Friday, and the thing in chorale at 10 o'clock, or sorry, chamber singers at 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and then chorale at 11, because that was the Devin Hester got the punter to beat it, he beat him game, and that was Brian Braum's freshman year. And he rotated with Stephon LaFours, left-handed quarterback.
Yep.
And everything. So yeah, we've had games against them of memorable note. And yeah, even from Brian's time there. And I mean, they're Louisville natives, the Braum family. Like he went to, I don't want to call the high school because I will get it wrong. I will say the wrong one, but they're from there. They've coached there. Played there, Jeff is the head coach and Brian is the OC and everything. So, yeah, I mean, with all that history, so it just adds layers to like, I would understand the frustration of losing to a team that's been a thorn in your side or, like an opponent for many, many, many years and then losing to them repeatedly by one.
Also losing star recruits to them over the years.
I mean, plenty of those.
That's another little note in the whole history.
I mean, look, it goes both ways because we fired Randy Shannon and gifted them through that Teddy Bridgewater, which Teddy Bridgewater has said that he was coming to Miami, and then we fired his coach, and then he was like, "Well, I guess I'll go play for, somebody else somewhere else." So yeah, it works both ways. So as you go through, that bowl game in Orlando, Teddy Bridgewater's final game, and we scored early, and then they went on a big run and brought him back out for the last drive and took a delay a game while he goes off walking to the sideline like he's Christ the Redeemer or Maximus Decimus Meridius from Gladiator. Are you not entertained? Walking to the Louisville sideline and everything. Yeah. I don't.
I don't. From Teddy Bridgewater, I mean, Lamar Jackson, another kid that.
Yeah, but like we were one of the teams that was trying to make him into a wide receiver, and I get it. And it was the year after Brad Kaya was already starting as a true freshman. And then we pivoted to Dwayne Lawson from Tampa, who was, big and fast and strong. He didn't end up being anything, but like we were one of the team, and we kicked the tires late on Lamar, but like we weren't really looking at Lamar Jackson like that. And Lamar Jackson in high school was good, but Lamar Jackson in high school was not Lamar Jackson that right now. But like we were one of the ones who's like, well, he can maybe come here and try to play quarterback. And famously, his mama was like, nah, like he's a quarterback, period. And if you're not trying to do that, don't talk to me. Type stuff. But yeah, the list goes on and on. So there's plenty of connections and plenty of reasons not to like them. I just hate the fact that their media people and fans run their goddamn mouths and feel that I'm going to get myself started, and I don't want to do that. I don't like them. We need to beat them, period.
It seems very personal, Cam.
I don't know why, but like they are like tier 1.5 of my hatred. It's like Notre Dame, Florida State, and then like tucked up right close up. Like oh wow, okay. I don't know why, and again, I don't know why they get under my skin and they have this entitlement and thought that they are as good as or better than the University of Miami, and it's just it irks my nerves.
At what exactly?
At
What are
football, first of all, entirely holistically, but then at football, and then like before they even beat us, they're like, well, we had a lead against you in 04, and like whatever, like who cares that you had a lead? You know what I mean? Like that's not proof positive of your superiority. You didn't win that game. You kicked the ball to Devin Hester like some morons. What are you talking about? But like they did, they chirp, 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 chirp. And I'm good for like, yeah, okay, whatever. Brush it off. You're idiots. Da, 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 da. I don't know why they get under my skin and annoy the hell out of me. But I delight in few things more than I delight in beating Louisville. And I need this team to do that on Friday night. For me, myself, personally. Don't even do it for your season. Don't do it to... No. For Cameron James Underwood, I need you to beat them. I don't know why. This is more vitriol than I've had on here.
I know.
I don't
even comprehend it.
It doesn't make sense to me either, Brian. I'm with you. It's crazy to me too. I feel like I'm Allen Iverson in the practice range. It's crazy to me too. It's crazy to me too. Louisville, we talk about Louisville, like practice. I don't know. I don't understand it. I'm an emotional being. And they stomp on my last emotional god darn nerve. And I need nothing more than to beat them. By 1 or a million, I would prefer the million.
I can't wait to see you on Friday night in the press box. It's going to be just amazing.
So
let me ask you this question. To beat Louisville, to win this game, what do you think the keys are for the University of Miami?
Do what we've done. Be who we are.
Well, that's no fun. Come on.
I mean, like, seriously, they can't. I don't believe, and I've said this in other games, and people are like, oh, you're an idiot. I'm not, because I've been right. I don't believe that they can block us up front. I don't. I honestly do not. They've struggled with far inferior defensive lines than we have. And we blitz too as well. So, I think that we just need to continue to be who we are and whip them at the point of attack and expect them to do some things differently on the offense, whether it's, the quick passes, whether it's a screen game, whatever. But I think we need to be who we are and then like get the run game back going, because credit to Florida State, in each of the last 2 years, they've taken away the thing that Miami entering the game did best on offense. Last year, when it was Cam Ward and the bomb squad, they said, we're playing cover 2 with the safety's heels at 18. You're not going to blur us over the top. And then we just grinded out 5.5, 6 yards of carry. Boom, boom, boom. Bob's your uncle. This year, they said, you're not running the ball on us because you haven't had any explosive plays, which I talked about. But if you can hit the explosive plays, then you'll win. And we hit the explosive plays. Malachi Tony already wrote his name in the history books for the Malahassee game.
Yep.
And we're good. So I said to say, Florida State, I believe, had the kind of athletes that could curtail or kind of contain Miami's running game. Let's get that back going. Let's get the passing game, still going. I just don't and be the ruthlessly efficient offense that we've been all season long. It's going to take some possessions for the score to get lopsided, because you have to possess the ball a few times before you're able to score points. But yeah, honestly, do what we've done and be who we are. And I'm confident that we should be able to be victorious.
So I agree with you on everything that you said on Miami being able to win this game. And it does start again up front. It starts up front, both sides of the football. We're better than them on both sides of the football up front. And Jeff Brom said about Miami's duo of defensive ends in Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor. We talked to the coaches from Florida, and they told us that they haven't seen two guys like that on the same defensive line since in the last 3 to 5 years in the SEC.
Well, he was actually saying the entire defensive line. So when you look back, talking about the issue with Georgia is their defensive front were the Monstars, right? Like they just had otherworldly mutants on the defensive line. And, in the past, and now a lot of those guys play for the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're good, but they're not that kind of different, oh my God, what is this freak kind of guy. Miami has those kind of dudes up front now, and yeah, that's a credit to what we've done and how we've built, where this team is. And I mean, shout out to Brian Brom for being complimentary. Mario Cristobal and our coaches were complimentary of them yesterday at the coaches presser.
Yeah, of course.
Saying, they do things really well and they have a very talented team and all kinds of things like that. So, like, I'm the one who's saying I hate them. They need to go die in a fire. Metaphorically. But they have scholarship players and they can do some things. But yeah, I really just think that, and I'm really elated to hear you just cleanly say Miami is better than Louisville up front on both sides of the ball, because I believe that to be true. But you are someone who struggles with leaning into this, or has struggled through this season of leaning into the success of this team and just saying, no, like, we're better than the opponent and we should beat them. And it makes me so happy to hear you say that.
Well, no. Wait. These are two different things, right? Like, I can logically look at I can watch teams, I can watch us, I can look at stats, I can logically say, hey, like, we are better than them in this position, that position, up front, all that stuff. Like, I can logically do that. My brain can do that. Where I get into trouble is like, oh, well, now go take that to, hey, we're going to beat them by 13 points or whatever the spread is. And then I start to get a little anxious, nervous, and I'm like, yeah, no, I mean, come on. And that's where it comes into it. But yeah, no, listen, we are better than them. We are more talented than Louisville. But I can't tell you how many times, Cam, we have watched in history a more talented team lose to a less talented team. That's why it's called sports.
As Miami Hurricane fans, way too many than we would like. But again, my point is, like, you've even struggled to say that part on previous episodes of this show, which is why I just said, hey, this is a monumental day where you can even just cleanly say that, because usually it comes with some kind of mitigation or hedging or, well, but no, it makes me happy to hear you say that the way that you did.
Look, on the legal betting app in the state of Florida, I already locked in my wager of Miami by the spread and the over, but I didn't. It was a 1 unit play, as they say, as opposed to a multiple unit play. So I put it down because I love my team, but it wasn't like I'm ready to fork over the family fortune on it. Not that there is one, but if there was one, I wouldn't fork it over on it. But that's
the family fortune. This is why I have never been invited to the palatial estate.
Oh, you can feel free to come over. It's not palatial. It is something.
Sure. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, it's just a humble, 22,000 square feet or whatever. In case people are wondering what the numbers are, Miami opened at 14.5 point favorites with the over under of 53.5. Number moved slightly as I look on a conglomeration website right now. It looks like 13.5 is the consensus on most books, with an over under in like the 53.5 to 54.5 point range. For those who are wondering, since you mentioned taking the points and the over, I just wanted to share the ballpark of those numbers with people for entertainment purposes only.
Okay, so we both think Miami's going to win the game, and that's the bottom line. Go ahead.
Would you be comfortable, because I saw that there was a Louisville blog, or the guy who runs the Louisville website on SB Nation, Card Chronicle, I believe, Mike Rutherford, who has a radio show up there, he was beating his chest because some of the projections, like FPI and Bill Connolly's SP Plus, were saying that it would be Miami win by like 9.5 points on the projection, as opposed to the 13.5 to 14.5. Would you be comfortable with like a 10-point victory, as opposed to like a 15?
Look, I'm comfortable with any win. You're the one that has this problem when we don't win by enough.
Well, yes and no. Because at the heart of things, you need to win by 1 point. It's the fact that and this is something that I'm finishing a piece that should be up soon, this week before the game on stateofview.com. I actually listed out the times when Miami had knockout punch opportunities in the previous games and did not capitalize. it's more than you think. And like, that's the issue more than it's the process over the result, because the result has been what we desire in every single game. But if you're really nitpicking, you're really looking at the process. There have been times where there's been rampant success on the field, even the previous drives to an opportunity that is listed as a knockout punch opportunity in this piece. And then all of a sudden, we just, two penalties and a drop pass, and all of a sudden we're punting in 3-9, so those kind of things. So it's not, there's a measure of truth. It's kind of like a half truth that I have problems with not winning by enough, but I think it's, again, emblematic of the process of the performance not being what I need it or would like it to be. That is more frustrating, because in the end, like the Florida State game, we won the game. I'm happy with the win. I would have liked the fourth quarter maybe to have gone differently and maybe call that holding in the end zone at 28-11 when two dudes tackled Ruben Bain and things like that. So, yeah, kind of, sort of, somewhat, but, also looking at some other things.
All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, I've got some juicy topics I want to get into, which this podcast has already been juicy. So there is that. Do me a favor, if you're watching this, subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening or watching, like, thumbs up, make a comment. Cam, we're starting to get a lot more comments on the YouTube videos. So I like that. Let's keep it going. I try to reply to everyone, try to get into it with people. So do that if you can, and tell all your people about the Real Ones Canes podcast, if you would. We're going to take a break. On the other side, I want to get into SEC stands complaining about everyone else, because that's what they do. I want to get into the whole James Franklin Penn State situation. Who might take that job, and are we familiar with that person? Because there's a couple of names on that list that we're very familiar with. And before we get to those two, a Miami topic we need to dive into, which has been brewing, I think. So we will do that on the other side. That and more coming your way after this. It's the Real Ones Canes podcast. We are back here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood. He is the managing editor of stateoftheu.com. Follow Cam at Underwood Sports. I'm the Beast, Brian London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Cam, stateoftheu.com. Lots of great stuff out there on stateoftheu.com. Who might replace South Carolina on the Canes schedule, because we had to make that change because the ACC is going to 9 conference games. There's Monday musings. There's all sorts of great stuff at stateoftheu.com. I will even let the people see it. If they're watching on YouTube, they can see the stateoftheu.com right now. Tell the people all about it.
Yeah, man. Great website. A couple pieces. Rob Weaver already got 4 comments up on the South Carolina piece. I love having the diverse group of contributors, because I don't necessarily agree even with the premise of that piece. Personally, just because of looking at what the future schedule is already populated with and things like that. But Rob has a different view, and I'm not here to make everybody think like me. So, check that out. And I'll hop in those comments. ACC Power Rankings. I love that hero shot of Mario Cristobal right there, because, we are the big dogs. Monday Musings. I put up a piece. The Tennessee Titans fired their head coach. This is him in the background of the Cam Ward picture there, and even more. So, yeah. And also maybe a little bit of a spoiler for a future topic of this here show, but lots of great things there. Stateoftheu.com. Please come over and fan with us. Let's get it going.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great website. All right, let's dive into a couple of topics. First is Miami related, because I think we need to have a blunt conversation about this. The University of Miami is a great football team.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best teams in the country.
But
there's still areas where they need to improve.
Mm-hmm. Like?
One of them is special teams. And it's not kicking field goals, because they've been really good. Mm-hmm. And it's not punting the football, because they've been really good. Mm-hmm. But the returning of punts and kicks to score the ball or to block a punt or a kick, those things have not happened for a while. And it's bothering not just me, but a lot of people. We did talk about, Malachi Toney and punt returns earlier in the season, but it's been a while. since we have actually scored. Like I said, back in the day, Miami used to call their return unit score teams because that was the idea. We're going to score the football when we have a chance. We're going to throw out, a Roscoe Parrish, a Devin Hester, or Santana Moss, whoever it is, and they are going to, every time they get the ball in their hands, it's a possibility they score the football. The last punt return touchdown that Miami had was DJ Dallas, 65-yard return versus Pitt, November 24, 2018. Jeff Thomas did it the week before at Virginia Tech. The last kickoff return for the touchdown was the famous Halloween game at Duke, the 8 lateral Corn Elder play.
2015.
Yeah, 2015. The last block punt against Savannah State, Nesta Jade Silvera in 2018. The last block field goal or extra point was last year, September 21st, 2024 at USF. So it's been too long since we have returned one for a touchdown. It's been too long since we have blocked a punt. It's been too long. We need to get back to doing this. That's my humble opinion.
I agree with you. There's been so many times that I've tweeted out, Chris Johnson Jr., remember him? Brashard Smith.
Yeah.
Keelan Marion.
Yes.
Seems like they're just a step. Ray Joseph on punt return.
Yep.
Man, they get caught by the shoestring. They're just a step away from taking it to the crib. Yeah, we need that to actually go to the departments. Like, we need to not be a step away. We need to get through that last gasp, swipe, and go score. So, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about that. It's sobering when you look back at it and think, because when you pitched this during the break and everything, I was like, well, I think the Jeff Thomas return at Virginia Tech, where he caught it on the left sideline and went all the way and kind of did that weird jump, dive, swim move in the air type thing to score. I was like, yeah, it's about that. But I mean, there was one by DJ Dallas the week later. But yeah, that 2018, right, was the last time. So yeah, I agree with you. We need to get back to affecting games in the realm of special teams. Mark Cristobal did say that they are, a lot of starters, or he didn't call them backups, contributing players, I believe is what he called them. So basically, people from the 2 deep are populating those units for coverage and return. And I just wanted to get on my soapbox for a second and also say that the Dylan Day hit in the Florida State game was not targeting. That's absolute shenanigans. And he's going to miss the first half of this week's game because of those shenanigans in that call. But yeah, whatever. So yeah, we need to score more on special teams. Brian, you are right.
And just to add to that, back in the day, right? You didn't have a big enough staff, at least Miami didn't, to be able to dedicate to just having a special teams person, or just like everyone took you had like a guy like Donnie Salinger was a running backs coach, and he kind of oversaw special teams, but he didn't really specifically just coach special teams. Everyone had like a facet of the game, like, Curtis Johnson might have returned. I'm just making stuff up. Like, every assistant coach kind of just had to take part of special teams, and it divided out that way. Now you're allowed to have so many more staff members and analysts and GAs and all these people that can really get specific and dive into stuff. One would think that someone would carve out a way, a means, something, a way to get our incredible athletes into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't even think that it's about scheme. I think it's about performance. Like, you need to make that last guy miss. You need to avoid that shoestring tackle. You need to, whoever the player is. It's not. I think that the opportunities have been there. We've not capitalized. So yeah, I think it is just incumbent upon somebody going out there and making a play.
All right, let's move along, because I'm going to get too frustrated because I miss seeing a punt return for a touchdown or a kickoff for a touchdown.
I don't like these episodes when you get me ranting about things and you start to, and I sit back and let it happen. And then, no, I'm not gonna do it. But that's okay. I can be the crazy one. That's fine. It's cool.
Oh, you haven't figured out that's how we're just. This is our character. These are our characters. This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna play the unhinged one. I'm just the I'm just the talking head.
I'm hinged. but there are some things that do make me unhinged.
Oh, if you're hinged, that hinge is creaky, my friend. Very creaky.
Hey. You might be right. Whatever. Anyways.
You know how Louisville fans piss you off?
Yes.
Okay, we talked about that in the previous segment.
We
SEC fans really piss me off.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, they get under my skin.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what school they're rooting for, just the general whole elitism of their conference attitude.
Well, it just means more, Brian.
Exactly. All of that.
Down here.
All of that.
It just means more over here in Starkville, Mississippi.
Yeah. Okay. Good. They can go stuff it. So all over the I saw this was trending at one point on the X, and I was like, why is this a thing? And the trending topic was people are pissed off that Ohio State, Miami, and Indiana are ranked so high and predicted to do so well and postseason and all this stuff. And the SEC guys are like, no, because your teams don't play anyone down the stretch, and we do. We play all hard games down the stretch. You guys don't play anyone in the top 25. Ohio State, Miami, and Indiana, as of right now, the remaining of their schedule does not include any top 25 teams. And it's like, okay, but we had a tough first half of the schedule. We got through it undefeated, and now we're going to play the second half of our schedule. And also, hey, if you're so good, then win your games and be undefeated, and then you can talk trash. Until then, don't talk trash. Also, if you're like an Alabama fan and you're all pissed off that, teams are ahead of you, don't lose to what looks like a really bad Florida State team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't do that.
That last part. Yeah, that hits real strong. Because Alabama could have won that game, but they didn't for whatever reason. Now, sorry, I'm going to let you continue before I.
No. Yeah, I'm good. I'll let you chime in.
I agree that the SEC homerism is misplaced and misguided. Like Nick Saban's not there anymore. This is not 2010 or 2015 anymore. The world of NIL has really leveled the playing field in so many ways. Like a decade ago, the distance between I'm just using one ranking or one thing because I saw Bud Elliott tweet about it. From number 1 to number 17 in the SP Plus rankings a decade ago was 4 scores. Like almost, it was like a 3 touchdown difference in the rating of those teams. From 1 to 17 now is like 1 score. Right. So it just shows that the sport is compressed. Like the teams way up at the top are not as far ahead or anything. And that's really affected the SEC because they just kind of, hoarded talent and things like that. In terms of Miami, I'm just going to center Miami in this conversation, not playing anybody who is ranked for the rest of the year as it stands presently. Louisville's 4-1. They just lost to a ranked Virginia team. Had they won that game, they would be ranked. So I don't think that's not a bad team. You know what I mean? SMU is 4-2. They lost, 2 tough non-conference games, Baylor and at TCU. But if they beat Clemson and they beat Wake Forest in the next 2 weeks, there's a good chance at 6-2, they're ranked when Miami goes up there in a couple of weeks. So there's a team that could potentially be, now obviously they got to get by Clemson. I know Clemson doesn't look like Clemson. And then Pittsburgh, presently not ranked, but they're 4-2. That's at the end of the season. If you get by, they have Syracuse, NC State, Stanford. Cool. You should win those games. Now you're 7-2. And then if you split Notre Dame and Georgia Tech in November, you're going to go in at 8-3. And probably be ranked by the time that Miami rolls around Thanksgiving weekend. So there are teams that could be ranked by the time that we play them, namely SMU and Pittsburgh. But regardless of that fact, you have to go win the games. That's why we play the sport. Shout out to Herm Edwards. And we've seen, like we talked about in the first segment, very talented Miami teams playing down to or below the level of talent of their opposition and having the worst game ever and then losing games after they're up 21-0 at Syracuse, 38 and they get boat raced 42-17 the rest of that game, right? So you still got to go win the games, but like just that on today, as we're talking about it, there are no little ranking numbers next to other teams on the schedule. Does not mean that it will necessarily be a cakewalk, though I do expect and will expect Miami to win all of those games.
Yeah, Miami will be favored in all of their remaining games.
Every game. Absolutely.
So there is that. All right, one last topic. Well,
the only thing I was going to say.
Oh, Georgia Tech?
No.
Wait, we don't play Georgia Tech this year, do we?
We surely do not. Which could
we do not. I was going to say
Tech, Virginia, Miami all go undefeated, and then the conference has to figure out who goes to Charlotte. It is a certainty that Miami will be a favorite in every single game in this regular season. Let's just play that out beyond the regular, because it would have to be after the regular season. When do you think would be the game or a game where Miami is the underdog and not the favorite? As the ACC championship game?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if Miami goes undefeated through the regular season, they're not going to be underdog in the ACC championship game, no matter who they play. It would have to be probably in the second round of the playoff.
So the first round are the on campus, and like if Miami goes undefeated, that means we would get a bye through that round.
Correct.
So in the quarterfinals,
yes,
as a top 4 seed, you think Miami would be an underdog?
No, I don't think they will. I'm just saying, like, when is the next time that it could even be feasible to me? That's when it would be feasible. Not that I think that's going to be the case, but I'm just saying feasible.
For the quarterfinals of the college football playoff would be the next feasible, or the only.
I mean, I could see them playing some one-loss team in the quarterfinals. That's, I don't know, whoever it is, Alabama, whatever. I'm just Georgia, whoever it is, like that. Maybe Vegas goes, oh no, blah blah blah. But
got it.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. But yeah,
it was just something that popped in my head, and I figured I would ask. Cool.
No, it's a good question. One more question I want to answer is, who's going to be the next coach at Penn State after James Franklin was, for like either I've read 56 million or 63 million or a lot of money. He was given a lot of money to go not coach James Franklin. Yeah. And I like James. I thought James Franklin was really good for a while and gave that program some stability when it needed some. And look, he's a program builder, and he did that. I agree that he should have probably been let go. That loss to Northwestern was just not forgivable. But some intriguing names out there for that job, 2 of whom have coached at the University of Miami as head coaches.
Like whom, Brian?
Well, there's Manny Diaz, who is at Duke. He has been mentioned. We know him very well. And our old friend, Mr. Penn State himself, the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals, Alfred Golden.
Interesting. I think Franklin had to go. I am still shocked and flabbergasted that Penn State had the balls to do it the day after the Northwestern game. I just didn't see that coming. I honestly didn't. Again, that they did it then, not that he had to go, because for the longest time, and I've said this on my other podcasts and other places, like everybody knows James Franklin didn't win big games there. But it really came down to, in the traditional iteration of the Big Ten, he didn't beat Michigan or Ohio State when they had East and West. But those are 2 of the best programs in the country. And like, it was set it and forget it. 10 wins, 11 with a bowl game. You get to college football playoff last year, you win 13 games, like, whatever. But he couldn't beat those teams. You add in Oregon and others into the Big Ten, so they go right to the top of the list. So I add Oregon in there. So them losing to Oregon is something that I predicted happening, because you don't beat those teams. Like, it was Michigan, Ohio State, and now add Oregon in there. Cool. He's fired. He's unemployed today because of losing to UCLA, the laughing stock of college football, like even 2 days, the day of that game, and then that game went sideways, and then losing at home to Northwestern on homecoming. And with everything in the game and the game control and everything, I saw in a advanced stats thing from a different website, they had a 73% post-game win expectancy, which is saying 3 out of 4 times you play that game and it goes the exact same way statistically, you would expect Penn State to win, and you found a way to snatch defeat from the hands of victory. It had to be done. I'm still flabbergasted that they did it when they did it. To your question, after my soliloquy, Manny Diaz was the defensive coordinator there after, we got rid of him, and did a good job because he's a very good defensive coordinator before getting the Duke job. I think that he's a good cultural fit. I think he's a stylistic fit for what they want. I don't know that he has the range because the AD has come out and said the expectation at Penn State is that we win conference championship, Big Ten conference championships, and national championships. That is the goal. Al Golden leaving another job for his dream job that he spent, a week campaigning for before he came back to Miami. I could see that. Where I start, and I believe they should start, is you make Curt Cignetti and or Matt Rule turn you down. Matt Rule, Penn State alum, met his wife there. Like a native of State College, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Like he's from there, like Mario's from here. Yeah, dog. No, Cignetti, I get it that he's older than, he's in his 60s, whatever, but that man can coach in football, don't care where. And honestly, in this new landscape of college football, it's a lateral move from Indiana to Penn State because Indiana clearly has the investment in what they're doing, financially, So it's a lateral, but yeah, it's like Roy Williams leaving Kansas to go back to North Carolina finally to coach their basketball team because, Dean Smith went and he offered the job to Roy. He was like, I'm going to do my own thing. He won a championship at Kansas. And finally, Dean was like, hey, we've had a couple of coaches. You need to come on home. You kick the tires on Curt Cignetti, but Matt Rule, you really, really lean in there and make him turn you down before you go anywhere else. And that's, again, before you even get to the Miami connected candidates of years gone by. Matt Rule has the same issue of not beating top 5 teams.
I was just gonna say, like, Matt Rule's coaching record's pretty mid.
Yeah, but look, he took over a bad Temple program.
I get that. But
took over Baylor after the Briles scandal. Got worse before it got better. Left, went to Nebraska, needed to get a little bit worse before it gets better, type thing. And there's a case to say, hey, you bring this Pat Mahomes cosplayer at quarterback from, his ancestral homeland where his, father and brothers.
Well, the guy that people are saying could transfer to the University of Miami.
Yeah, or he could transfer with his coach to Penn State if you hire Matt Rule. I think if I were to kind of do power rankings or things like that, I think that Al Golden and or Manny Diaz both have a puncher's chance. Throw a jab, throw a cross. Maybe you get lucky and you land that incredible punch and, get this knockout and get this job. But if you're looking for someone to go win championships, conference and national, which is what the AD has stated from his own mouth, is the firm expectation. You cannot get this hire wrong. And Penn State is banking on James Franklin being their analogous Mark Richt before they go get their Kirby Smart. I caution them that we've seen this work the other way in many places. We've seen Michigan get rid of Lloyd Carr for going 9-3 consecutively and not winning a championship. And then you get Rich Rodriguez, and then you get Brady Hoke, and it was 15 years before they were good again. Bo Pelini was winning 9 and 10 games at Nebraska. You said that's not good enough, and then they're still not winning 9 and 10 games to this day, right? And there are others. So I get it that they're saying he's Mark Richt, James Franklin, and we're going to go get a Kirby Smart. It is much more likely that they're getting rid of 9, 10 wins consistently, and they're going to go and they're going to get somebody who does not even deliver to the level of the previous coach. So I get that, everything is greener. I get that, you want to keep up with the Joneses, and I saw that they got rid of a coach. There's been umpteen places that have gotten rid of coaches who are performing to, a 8-4, 9-3, maybe 10-2 level in hopes of going forward, but instead tear things down unwittingly, and it ends up going backwards. We'll see which one it is. But again, if you're looking at the singular example, that's the outlier. That's the exception, not the rule, right? So you look at these other places that got rid of performing coaches and they took a step back. Pride comes before the fall, and I get that James Franklin had to go. Penn State, I don't know that is going to go the way that you think in your head. But hey, good luck, Godspeed.
I agree with you on Matt Rule, and I don't think Manny or Al are going to get that job. I would just say to you with Curt Cignetti that he's a guy, if he's able to do what he's done at Indiana at any school that actually has the financial wherewithal to support him with anything he wants, he could be a juggernaut of a coach. He is a little bit older, but you know what? Guys are coaching into their 70s now. So,
yeah.
Whatever.
And also, Cignetti, he was, at Nick Saban's school for wayward coaches in Alabama as an assistant at that staff years ago. And he left from there to go to James Madison intentionally when they were 1AA, and was just like, cool, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to go start winning, and cool. And people were like, what did he do? Win everywhere he's been. So, I get it why he's a candidate, but yeah, I'd say between Cignetti and Rule, you make them turn you down like firm and final. Like, even if they say, thanks for the interest, not interested, call them again. You know what? I heard the initial feedback. We're going to put a new plan together. We're going to send the AD and the university president over there to go talk to him. Look, we heard you the first time, but we just wanted to really make sure that you had the full lay of the land before you make a final decision. So, yeah, it's not that we didn't hear you. We just wanted to really dig in. Yeah, you make both of those dudes, I think, turn you down publicly, finally, type of a thing before you move on.
All right. That'll do it for this episode of the Real Ones Canes podcast. I remind everyone out there, please subscribe. If you're listening, subscribe. If you're watching, subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. If there's a like, do that. Comment wherever you're listening or watching. Make a comment. Tell Cam he's unhinged. Tell me I'm the voice of not being unhinged.
Yeah. Do all of those things. But also, and I'm going to interrupt your closing statement here, I'm here to remind you.
Yes.
There are only 4 more home games for the Miami Hurricanes this year.
Valid point.
And one of them is this Friday. So you should be there. Find yourself at Hard Rock Stadium. If you're local. If you're not, then obviously tune in Friday night, 7 o'clock ESPN. But if you are local, be there in person to the Asylum. Make it crazy for these Hurricanes, because I don't want to hear in February and March, man, I wish there was a game. There's a game 3 days away from now, and I should see you at Hard Rock Stadium. Thank you very much for your attention in this matter.
Cam, I will see you at Hard Rock Stadium on Friday night.
Buddy.
I know. All right, everybody, we appreciate you listening and watching. We will see you next time right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Peace.